And now here we are at the back of my car, and what I've got here is the crankcases and the block that I've just picked up from Camcoat with their new high-tech, sort of high temperature and very tough finish. I've not even opened it yet. And also in here is the pistons and actually a full gasket set. So let's have a look at this. I won't open it up completely because I want to transfer it in a minute, and I don't want to you know, unwrap it unnecessarily. But if we look at that, let's just zoom in a little bit. Yes, that looks pretty good. Now, it's not the most sort of attractive finish you can do. Maybe powder coating would be a bit smoother, or even paint, because this finish is quite thin, but it is incredibly hard, I'm told. So hopefully that will stand me in good stead. And now I'm going to cover it up again, because these parts are going to go off to my friend Les, who's going to build the engine for me, because I have neither the time or the space or the skill to rebuild this Kawasaki engine the way I want it to be built. Right, here we are then at Les's workshop. I brought the block, newly machined, newly bored out, and the cases just arrived from Camcoat, so we're keeping our social distance. So I'll stand back and you can do the honours and open that up. Yeah, so I've not seen it yet, it's still sealed up.
Actually, that might tear because it's only paper. Don't need the knife.
No.
Here we go, unveiled.
Yeah, so there's my newly refinished block, cases and so on.
Ceramic
now,
coated.
This is some sort of clever ceramic coating. It's very hard apparently, rock hard. It's not very thick, so you can still see kind of flaws in the aluminium and so on. It's not like powder coating, which is really thick. So hopefully that will be a finish that will last a long, long time. It's not cheap, but the reason it's not cheap is because you've got to pay for them to I guess mask off all the appropriate faces and so on.
The cases are bolted together, so
yeah, yes, I think there might be one or two in there.
There's 2 bolts here, here. There's a couple in here with washers on to stop the powder going down there.
Yeah, yeah.
There is grit.
Yeah, well,
so these will need thoroughly cleaning.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Thoroughly cleaning.
Yeah, okay. So that's the start anyway. So now I've got to go and get the crank and the gearbox. That might be a few days before I can get them. And yeah, then we can crack on with it. Yeah.
Very shiny. Now,
what I'm not sure about at this point in time is what kind of finish I'm going to have on the head, because right now that's raw aluminium, and I'm not sure whether having it all black with just the head silvery aluminium is going to look okay, or whether I should get the head finished black as well.
No,
or different colour.
I think it's got a match.
It's got a match.
Either all silver or all black.
Oh well, we'll see.
You do get people painting the rocker covers red and weird colours, but I'm a great believer in having it all the same.
Yeah, I mean in terms of the clutch covers and so on, and the side covers, I think they'll be polished.
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, so that's a start at least. And as I say, I've got to go and get the crank and the con rods and so on. We've got the pistons here.
Yes.
And there they are there.
Set.
Yeah.
I've just dug out that there, a genuine Kawasaki manual.
Okay.
For all the information I need.
Put that over there. There it is. Real blurry. So we'll put that over there.
That covers the all the specifications I need for measuring up.
Okay, great stuff. And what else? What else? I think that's it really. We've got to keep apart. We can't stay too long.
No.
So that's that. And but while I'm here, we will look at a couple more things very quickly, but they'll be part of a different video. And now here we are a few days later, and I've brought back the upper engine case. As you can see here, it's come back with me. And that's because we found a problem that wasn't apparent when it was dirty and oily. And the problem means I can't use this case at the moment in the engine build. And that problem is right there where my finger is. And I suspect it's too small for you to see. So let me zoom in and hopefully you can spot what the problem is. Okay, so now we've zoomed in and I'm not sure if the camera can pick it up, but there's a crack in the case right there at about 9 o'clock and a smaller crack at about 7 o'clock. Now this hole is actually a hole which holds a pin, which in turn helps locate the crankcase bearings. There's actually a hole here, all the way along. And this was easy to spot really once we cleaned it up, because the pin was quite loose in this hole. It should be quite a close interference fit, and it wasn't. So that's a bit of a problem. We can't use this case as is, and luckily it can be fixed, because because what we have to do is to fill it with weld and then machine it back and then drill it, and hopefully it'll be okay. Okay, so now here we are, another day, another shot of my car boot and more Kawasaki Z bits. And what we've got here, the most important thing, is the upper crankcase, which has now been repaired.
Yes.
By the two Jeffs, Jeff with the G and Jeff with the J. And Jeff with the G, Jeff the welder, what he did was he ground away this area of the crankcase and then rebuilt it with weld.
Yes.
And then Jeff with the J, our Jeff as it were, he put this on his miller and carefully machined out the shape we need. He did say actually it didn't take him very long to do the machining, but it took him about an hour and a half to set up the case on the miller bed.
He had to re-drill the hole for this. He had to re-drill the hole for this pin.
That's right, yeah. Now, although I couldn't film any of that due to social distancing and everything else, Jeff the welder did send me a couple of photographs as he worked through it. So the first picture I'm going to see now, I'm going to show you now, is going to be when he'd ground away this area here, which was cracked. So I'll show that now. And the second picture was when he'd rebuilt or built up this area with weld. So here we are now, that's the next picture. And then of course here we are with the finished article, so hopefully that's going to be fine. Also in the back of my car boot here is some caps, yeah, we need them. And we've got some cams somewhere. And somewhat surprisingly, we've got a new crank over here. Can you see that?
Oh, a second crank.
Second crank, not a new crank, a second crank. And that's because the first crank I brought over apparently hadn't been rebuilt, and when Les here was standing next to me at suitable distance, he started to take it apart. And what did you find?
The two outer mains, those caps there.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you slide them off, just
be careful with it.
Yeah. On the other crank, they were damaged.
Yeah, so that slides off.
Yeah, and on where the bearing runs on the inside,
on the inside was
worn.
Was worn, so
and chipped.
So we're not having that.
No.
Luckily, Jeff in his massive store of bits and bobs has several cranks, and this is one that's been rebuilt.
Looks in much nicer
condition.
And
he actually checked it out. He put a ground rod through it and everything. It's
check the alignment with an arbor.
Yeah, it's all fine.
Good.
Right, so all this can go back to you now, Les, and you can continue or at least start doing the build. Any questions?
Well, no. Everything goes into the top crankcase, so everything was waiting for that to come back repaired.
Now, obviously, it's now covered in swarf and whatever, so it needs a good clean.
It needs a good wash off.
Yes, of course, yeah. Oh, and I've also got here in this little bag a bag of fasteners and God knows what else. He wasn't sure how much you had, whether you had some or didn't have some, so anything you don't need can go back.
Can go back to
you do need, then we can do that. Right, great. So all that can go out of my car into your workshop. We can crack on.
Yeah,
brilliant.
We can.
Right, so we come into the workshop. Les is over there, away from me, and what we've got here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got one over there. 7. Hang on, 7 over there. So you've gone through 7 different
gear shafts.
And the reason for that is because you've had quite a few. Jeff's got a few, you had a few, whatever, I guess.
Yeah, well, Jeff had a few.
Yeah. And what you've done is taken them all apart, checked them all out, inspected them, and put them back together again, and picked the best 2 for me.
Using the best bits,
yes, that aren't worn.
Yeah, there's very little wear in any of them, but I just wanted the most immaculate of the lot, obviously.
Yeah, and then down here, just below me, there's a crank. But that crank's not from a GPZ, is it? That's from that's from your
Z1000 Mark II.
Yeah, and you tell me the outer webs are full circles rather than being cut out, as they are on the later models.
That's right.
So it doesn't rev quite so quick. Okay.
That's it.
And that crank is going to go in that bike over there one day.
Yep.
For which the engine's just there peeking out behind the Norton. Okay, and now we're going to have a look on the workbench. Okay, so now we've come to the workbench. We can see we've got those 2 cranks there, a good one and a bad one. And also we've got my lower case with that one of those transmission shafts in place.
That's the good one I've made.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And what else do you need now? What else are we missing?
Well, behind you in the drip tray is a disassembled output shaft.
Okay, let me just move and see that. Okay, so now I'm looking down, and sure enough, you've got a shaft there.
Yeah, it's the best of the 3 output shafts with all the best gears.
Okay, so you're going to put that together. And
it just wants a final wash now and reassembling.
Yeah, and then you're good to go.
And then we've got 2 a good gearbox.
And next to it is a massive selection of selectors and God knows what else that's in that.
Yeah, just a massive amount of stuff. 1100 engine parts and
whatnot.
So it's a matter of going through everything and using everything, all the best bits.
Yes,
basically.
of course, yeah. Okay. Right. Anything else to report on then before I go off home and drink more tea myself? I see you've got tea, but I've not. But anyway,
sorry.
That's okay. I'm not staying. We've got to keep apart.
When I took the gear shafts apart,
yes.
Behind the output shaft bearing where the sprocket goes, there's a spacer.
Right.
And they're both worn.
Right, okay, we need new ones.
So we need a new one. There's 3 shafts, but only 2 have these spacers.
Right.
And they're both worn.
Right, okay, no problem.
So, I don't know if there's a 3rd one in there. I've not delved that far yet. If there is and it's in good nick, I can use it. But if not, I'll have to get one.
Well, as I said, I mean, in terms of the build, anything worn gets replaced. You know, there's no point putting the money to the
I don't cut corners, it's going to be right.
No, it's got to be right. There's no point trying to use worn parts in an engine that's a fresh engine. So anyway.
Well, a lot of people would just take a gear cluster and throw it in.
Yeah, no.
Maybe wash it and oil it and put it in. But I like to take them apart and inspect them first.
Yeah.
And make sure there's no wear on all the engagement dogs.
Yes.
And then
so on.
Reassemble it, which is what I'm doing.
Right, okay. Great stuff. Right, so that's that then. It's time to go home. I'm not sure when we're going to see any more progress. Are you waiting on going to Z Power and getting some parts?
Now you've brought the crank and these, associated bits, which look pretty mint.
Good.
Without cleaning them, I can't tell.
Yeah.
Now you've brought the top crankcase back.
Yeah. Which have we got? Yeah.
Everything assembles into the top crankcase.
Right. And then that's your starting point.
And then you assemble the gear selector mechanism in the bottom crankcase, which is this one.
Yeah.
And then you
flip it over.
Down it goes.
Right. Okay.
So I can't assemble the bottom end until we have obviously the repaired crankcase and obviously a crank.
Right, which we've got now. But obviously we need things like a cam chain adjusters.
Yeah,
all new fasteners and so on.
I can get all that from Z Power, and I'm hoping to be going over the next day or so.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, so they're still open, are they?
Now I've been making a list of bits I need.
Good.
And as you can see there, there's parts that I was going to get off Jeff.
Yeah.
Cam chain Z Power, obviously.
Yes,
main bearing outers ×2, which you brought in a bag.
Yeah.
But you've also brought me another crank, so I've got the choice of 2 cranks now.
Okay, good.
Crank knock pins.
Yeah.
And then I found the crack in the crankcase.
Of course, yeah.
So we've got spare crank pins in there and the repaired crankcase.
Yeah.
Crank middle cap, including the cam chain bolt, 6.3mm, which is that special bolt there.
Okay.
Has a special height.
Oh yes, I see. Yeah.
Which you've got to measure.
Right.
O-ring between the crankcase halves. I'm not sure if there's one in there, but I like to use genuine Kawasaki ones on crankcase halves.
Okay.
Because of the quality in these aftermarket kits isn't brilliant.
Yeah. Well, that came from
I don't want to be taking an engine out just to change one O-ring.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Well, that is from Z Power, so it's a decent.
Yeah. Well, it's still aftermarket.
Yeah.
So there's an O-ring between the crankcase halves here.
Yeah.
And then there's a push rod O-ring which goes inside this cap.
Right, yeah.
To seal the push rod. And I think there's one there in that. I think that's it there.
There should be a complete set there, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, there's the old O-ring which I took out.
Yes.
And it looks like it's that one there.
Yeah.
So I can use that. So I might be able to scrub that off my list.
Right, good.
But as I'm working through it, I'm just making notes of what I need, what I don't need.
Yeah. Well.
It's a case of washing everything now. That gear cluster's lovely. I've just put some light oil on it as I built it.
Yeah.
But I've had to use every single gear I've had to have in my hand. And I've got very, very fine wet and dry, and I'm
just checking.
I'm just literally polishing right in the bottom of the V on every teeth.
Yeah.
On every tooth I've cleaned because they were rusty. And I've had to check for any hammer marks and cracks.
Yes, anything.
There's no cracks, but I've found a lot of hammer marks in some of those gears.
Right.
On some of those clusters.
Those down there.
And they're still usable.
Yeah,
still usable, but obviously I want to use the nicest.
Yeah.
That gear there, which is first gear,
yeah,
is actually part of the shaft.
Right.
It's a machined integral part of the shaft.
Can't change it.
So everything revolves around the condition of that.
Yeah.
So luckily,
it's okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess first gear doesn't get used that often, does it? I mean, in terms of miles.
No, I mean the Z1000s, that gear has 12 teeth. On the 1100s,
is it 13? Is it? Yeah.
14.
Oh, 14. Yeah.
But on the gearbox in this, which is a close ratio race gearbox,
oh, that one there, yes.
It's a very expensive gearbox.
Right.
And that number of teeth on that first gear there are 16. So it's a taller first gear.
Right. But is it weaker because it's got more teeth? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway.
They've just brought the ratios closer together.
Yeah.
For racing, and it's undercut. But famously, I think Dave Marsden offered me 800 quid for that gearbox.
Bloody hell.
Before that was 20 years ago.
Right. Ooh.
It's a very rare, genuine Kawasaki close ratio
gearbox.
Race gearbox.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I think I'll just fit a bigger rear sprocket. No, I'll be all right.
There's nothing wrong with standard Kawasaki gearboxes. No. They are bulletproof.
Yeah.
Bulletproof.
Yeah. Well, I hope so.
I mean, there's tiny polishing marks on these, but that's normal.
Yeah, I mean, all these parts.
No wear on anything.
All these parts are from a bike that might be 30 or 40 years old. So yeah, and it's been in bits. So you know,
they were covered in oil, so
yes.
they're not rusted.
No.
What annoys me is if people wash a part and leave it stud, like that, for instance, and then you get pitting. You see the rust?
Yeah.
Now I'd have to linish that with very fine.
Yeah, you got to clean it up.
Polish it before I fit it.
Yeah.
It leaves a stain mark, but I don't like shit like that. I like a nice machine.
Well, them cams I think are B1 cams, so they should be okay for the engine.
Yeah. B1 cams. Let's have a look.
Cool.
Let's have a look at the specs for B1 because there we are. Here's B1, KZ and Z1100B.
More lift, is it? More lift.
Let's have a look at camshafts. The 288-degree duration. Doesn't give the lift, it gives the duration.
Right.
So that's a B2.
Yep.
So B2 are 288. Yeah, that's the B2. So your B1 will be further back in the book. I find less duration gives a nicer spread of torque. And, you know, so to me, something with Z1000s have got 280. I think it was 280, might be 275 duration. I think the Unistrack ones are 300. They're very peaky, very, you know, almost like a two-stroke. You know when it comes on the cam.
Yeah. Okay, well.
I'm just trying to find it now. You're not still filming, are you?
Of course I am.
Oh, right, okay. I didn't realise you were still filming.
Film everything.
Me whittling.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. I'm sure you'll find somebody out there who wants to listen to you.
Yeah, only you, mate.
Only me.
But yeah, somewhere in the specs at the front of the book, it gives the. Oh, here we go. It'll give the duration of the Z1000J stroke B1 cam.
Yeah.
I think somewhere. Carry on going back.
Okay. Well, if needed, I'll cut all this out. Don't worry.
Here we go. So we're nearly there.
Yeah.
So they're only 280-degree duration, so 8 degrees less than the B2. Yeah. That'll be those models.
Yeah. Well, this bike's hopefully going to be a nice torquey road bike. It's not going to be a screamer.
Yeah, that's it.
It ain't going to Santa Pod, that's for sure.
No. So all this need for heavy-duty studs and special clutches.
Nice to have, but not needed.
It's not needed. You don't need an undercut gearbox. You don't need Unitrack cylinder head.
As long as it changes the gear, all right, I'm happy. Yeah.
You know, a standard 1100 motor, that'll be lovely.
Yeah.
Well,
it is slightly over now. It's now 1135cc. It's got a 1mm over rebore.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, with that then, I'll leave you be. You can drink your tea, and I'll come back in a week or two's time. We'll keep our social distancing, and hopefully we'll see some more progress.
We'll have something looking like an engine.
Yes, hope so. And with that, thanks for watching, and cheers.
Cheers.